Welcome back. This is Global Business on afiatv, live from Enugu, Nigeria. The cry to boost the non-oil sector has been strong for this current administration. To x-ray the activities within the Nigerian export industry, we have Tony Odukwe, a business developer and international trade expert, also the MD of Devcom Foods and Cosmetics Limited, join us on the show today. We are looking at an overview of Nigeria's export activities in 2022. Welcome, Tony.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Good morning and Happy New Year is still in place. I think the last time we saw was in 2022.
That's right.
This is 2023.
Yes.
All right, before we start going into what 2023 holds for us, especially when it comes to export, we want to take an overview of what the export sector was like in 2022, especially for Nigeria, and then probably we'll bring it down to Southeast as well.
Okay, well, basically, I can't give you the actual figures of 2022, but in average, Nigeria makes about 46 billion, annually from export, right? And that's both the non-oil export and other sectors of it. Because with export, you have solid minerals, you have textile, you have agro, and then you have different other merchants exporting, so all of that put together is about 46 billion per annum,
Okay.
And so we really need to grow that, so I wouldn't, like I said, I don't know what the figures are for 2022, but we really need to grow our export.
Okay.
Yes.
What is our potential like?
It's great, it's huge. It's just that the government is not paying, due attention. Now, my problem is that Nigeria is a consumerist nation, and so that means that the majority of what we consume in Nigeria are imported, and that's constantly draining our economy, right? And so we're not diversifying, the economy. Now, oil has been a mono earner for Nigeria for the longest time, since the 60s. Nigeria has earned majority of its, the funds that it uses to fund its budget through the oil sector. But since 2007, we've been losing market. And so a lot of our old customers stopped buying from us, and so the Nigerian capital market almost crashed. The Nigerian economy started shaking and has been shaking ever since. And so that's why the federal government, in partnership with the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, came up with what we call ZOP, the Zero Oil Plan. And so this is a policy that it was designed to diversify Nigeria's export and look away from oil, because oil is actually not earning. So between last year and now, Nigeria has made practically zero earnings from oil. So that means it's really pertinent for us to diversify our exports.
Yeah.
That's right. So because Nigeria has solid minerals, we have agro products, we have hide, we have iron ore, we have tin ore, we have lead, we have gold, we have, just name it, limestone, just name it. Right? I could give you a list of at least 70 products, much more, we have much more than that, but I can give you a list of about 70 products that are exportable. But these products are not being exported, in their numbers. And that's because the federal government depended solely on oil. And so hopefully in 2023, as we change to a new government, I'm hoping they can, get it right and actually really diversify the economy and begin to explore all the other sectors of, our exportable products. And that way we can earn a lot of money. I was talking about the Nigerian economy being drained through imports, right? The importer is a major drainer of the Nigerian economy, right? But there is one thing that happens, there's a dynamic right there. You and I are the reason Nigeria's economy is dying, because our taste for foreign commodities is the reason the importer is in business and making a lot of money. And so the more we taste for foreign goods, the more they import. And the more they import, they drain our economy. So what happens is that what the exporters make for Nigeria as forex that should stabilize the Nigerian economy, we give to the importer, and they take all those funds and ship it right back overseas to acquire those commodities to suit our taste, and that's killing our economy. So we need to grow Nigeria, we need to manufacture Nigeria, we need to consume Nigeria, and that's the only way we can create jobs and actually strengthen our economy.
To support this, what do you think the government can do to really, make us think Nigeria and grow Nigeria?
There are a number of things the government needs to do. They need to support the MSMEs, okay, through funding and, trainings, right? And so when you do that, you're going to scale industries. The SME is the most employer of labor in any country. They are the drivers for the economy anywhere in the world, right? It's not the big brands that you know. Those employ very few people. But SMEs put together employ the most labor in any country, and they grow the economy. So you need to support them, through technical support and funding. If you can do that, then you will scale industries. Industries need to be scaled. On a state-to-state, level, you need to build a lot of industries. What you need to do is do a sum up of everything Nigerians need on a day-to-day basis. Make sure you set up industries that manufacture those so that we can stop shipping our monies overseas to acquire some of these things. The textile industry, for example, can employ millions of Nigerians, but you need to reactivate the moribund textile industries and begin to use the cotton we have, which is a natural gift, and instead of shipping them raw, we begin to convert them to textile and then actually start making these clothing that our people wear locally. That way we'll create jobs, we'll create revenue, we'll grow GR and we'll IGR, and then we'll grow GDP. So that's on the one hand. On the other hand, you need to support farmers, right? Because what happens is that farmers are struggling a great deal on their own. You need to make sure that there's available land, there are tractors for them to hire, and there is input in terms of seedlings and equipment to work, right? And then you have to make sure that you create the middle ground, because agriculture has three sectors. Number one is production. It could be food production, crop farming, or livestock. And then there's a middle ground, which is the processing, where you take from the farmers, you process it into finished products, and then you get to the business part of it, distribution and export and all of that. But what we lack in Nigeria is the middle sector, and that's killing our economy. Okay. So what you need to do is ensure that the farmer is supported to produce enough, and then make sure that there are enough industries that can process. And so these processors will become the off-takers from the farmers. So they take from the farmers, they process, they serve the local market, and then export the rest. So it's a win-win situation. You create jobs here, you create wealth at both terminals, and Nigeria will be good for it.
What do you think is the major challenge why we don't have a lot of people in the middle process?
One, lack of funding. Two, lack of know-how. Three, the system of funding in Nigeria ensures that people cannot go into that sector. For example, as a businessman, I go to the bank and I take a loan. The bank gives me a loan, a term loan that lasts for 6 months, right? And so they expect me to start paying both interest and capital from the first month, from the first 30 days. So you see, for me to set up an industry, buy equipment, I need at least 6 months. And then you're giving me a loan that I have to pay in 6 months. It's just not possible. There's no leeway for me to do that. So it becomes easy for me to run to China and go buy commodities and come flip them over and then make turnover, make profit, and then pay my first 30 days and then the rest of the month. So the way the loans are structured, it makes it impossible for people to actually set up industry. So we need to have a proper funding system for industries that gives them allowance and actually gives them moratoriums, right? So say you get a 1-year loan and then I give you 3 months to do your setup before you can actually begin to pay back capital and interest. So that's really very important. Yes, and then know-how is the other thing. Okay. We must teach our businesses. We must teach our businesses how to go into manufacturing. And also we need to teach them that there are other ways. You don't necessarily have to own factories. You can do what we call outsourcing, white labeling, right? So I can own a brand in the market without owning a single machine. And so the way I achieve that is find, credible manufacturers that I can outsource my manufacturing to. So they do everything. I leverage on the experience to get NAFDAC, to get, a world-class product. And all I need to do is carry my brand and put it in the warehouse and begin to distribute it. So these are some of the knowledge that we need to give our businesses.
That's quite interesting. But over a period, we've seen government bring in programs like the Anchor Borrowers program. We've also seen NISAL more in action this period. We've also seen AGMIS, which was geared towards training, supporting farmers from different aspects and angle to see more of them become fruitful and productive in what they are doing. What would you say about these programs, and what can be tweaked if it needs some tweaking?
Did you see the smirk on my face when you said that?
Yes, I'm saying it.
Because a lot of those programs are hypocritical. They become cash cows for politicians, corrupt politicians, right? They're not really implemented as we're designed, and so the people they're meant for end up not getting them, right? Yes, I know a few people may have gotten the Empower, get them into Empower. 1 or 2 people I don't even know anybody who's gotten the Anchor Borrowers,
program.
Funding from there. Yeah. But because what happens is that corrupt politicians still turn around with their cronies and go get access to these monies and use them for other stuff. that they were never designed for. And so the very people that they are designed for don't get them. You know, I've been in the business community in the Southeast, and I'm part of the leadership of the export community in the Southeast. I know that funding is a problem, right? And so you go to the central bank, who are supposed to give these funds, and they ask you to get your grandfather's head. Makes it impossible for you to, you know what I mean by go get your grandfather's head. You know, they give you a set of requirements that are absolutely impossible for you to get, right? Now you're asking somebody who's not a wealthy businessman to go get you a land with CFO. How many lands have CFO in Enugu? You know, you're asking them to go get you a guarantor, you know, to come sign, you know, somebody from grade level 16 or something, 2 guarantors. Who's going to do that for you in the current Nigeria? And so if you don't want to give this money, don't play games with people.
What's the alternative then?
The alternative is to set up a system where there has to be, you know, some kind of partnership, you know, between the businesses and the funders. Now you do a business plan, you bring it to them, they study it, and then finance it based on merit. A lot of business plans are great. People around here have great business ideas, right? But they just don't have the funds to execute them. So study these plans, business plans, and actually finance them on the strength of these individual proposals. But work together with them, even if it means becoming a partner, you know, buying into the business, say, become a 30-70 partner, you know, you own 30% and they own 70%. So that allows you to put a staff in the company that oversees the books of the company and ensures that everything goes according to plan so that they can eventually pay back these loans, right? So if you do that, then more businesses will succeed, more businesses will get funding and succeed. And as they succeed, you have room to support other businesses. That's one of the ways we can do that. Then the other way we can do that is commercial banks really need to become commercial banks. You know, they want you to dot all the T's and cross all the T's and dot all the I's before you can get a loan. It doesn't work that way. You have to take a risk as a financial institution and sometimes actually believe in people. And that's the only way our businesses can survive. So some of these programs that you mentioned are also highly politicized. You find that come close to election period, they begin to implement some of these things as a way to buy votes. So I really don't believe in them. Our business community don't believe in them, and so the government needs to do better.
Okay, we want to see more, especially in these areas, and you've made some recommendations. Yeah. I'm sure if we are able to put some of them in place, we'll see a lot happen within the area of export in Nigeria. And then, of course, for every state and every region, this is very, very key.
Absolutely.
And, of course, every region has this place of competitive advantage, products and services. Yeah. Those should be boosted as well.
Absolutely.
I like the part you talked about textile. We're probably further down in the program, you know, when we have you again, we could look at our textile industry in Nigeria. What do we have on ground? What is going on for us? What can we do better?
Solid minerals is another good area too.
Okay.
We need to look at.
All right. Yeah. Expect more of that right here on the program, Global Business on afiatv. Thank you very much, Tony, for joining us. And this is where we will end on today's program. I am Ifeoma Ajumobi, reaching you live from Enugu, Nigeria. Up next is Opening Bell. Enjoy more on afiatv.